Mr. Potato Head will let Queenie Weenie sing in the next show we won't
I'll thinky winky about it.
You better.
Mr. Potato Head getting his own TV show in the late 90s might sound random today, but when you look back at the timing and the cultural atmosphere, it actually makes a lot of sense. By 1998, Mr. Potato Head wasn't just some toy sitting on a shelf at Toys R Us. He was a full-blown pop culture icon with a history that stretched back to the early 1950s. He was one of Hasbro's earliest big hits, a toy that could swap eyes, ears, noses, hats, and mustaches to create wacky faces. For decades, he was marketed as both silly and educational, teaching kids about creativity, parts of the body, and imagination. But like many classic toys, his popularity dipped over the years, until Pixar came along and completely revitalized him. In 1995, Toy Story turned Mr. Potato Head into a wisecracking, sarcastic side character voiced by comedian Don Rickles. Suddenly, this old-school toy was hot again. Every kid recognized him, every parent remembered him, and Hasbro saw a golden opportunity to cash in on the character's renewed fame. At the same time, the 1990s were packed with toy companies turning their properties into animated or puppet-driven shows. Hasbro had already done it with Transformers and G.I. Joe. Mattel had Barbie specials and merchandise tie-ins. Playmates was dominating with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you had a toy with even a little recognition, the natural next step was to try and get it on TV. Fox Kids in particular was experimenting with unusual, zany programs to stand out in a crowded Saturday morning market. They weren't just running superhero shows like X-Men or Spider-Man. They also wanted offbeat comedies to compete with Warner Brothers' Animaniacs and Nickelodeon's Ren and Stimpy, along with Rocko's Modern Life. So Hasbro pitched the Mr. Potato Head show. It blended puppetry, practical effects, and sketch comedy into something that felt more like a variety show than a straightforward cartoon. The concept was that Mr. Potato Head led a troupe of misfit characters known as the Kitchen Crew. Together they put on shows in their clubhouse, but the plots often spiraled into absurd chaos. You had characters like Queenie Sweet Potato, who was glamorous and dramatic, and Johnny Rotten Apple, who acted as a cranky troublemaker. The writing leaned heavily into slapstick, puns, and fourth-wall breaking antics. Unlike other children's shows of the era, it didn't follow a traditional lesson of the day format. Instead, it had sketch comedy energy, random cutaways, and bizarre gags. Some kids loved how different it felt. Others didn't get it at all. Parents were also split, since the humor sometimes leaned into snarky or absurd jokes that confused younger audiences. Another big factor was the look of the show. It mixed puppetry with live-action energy, which made it stand out from the animated hits of the time. Imagine something closer to Pee-wee's Playhouse, but branded around Mr. Potato Head and his gang. That uniqueness was exactly what Fox Kids wanted to experiment with. But it also made the show harder to market. Imagine kids coming off the high-energy, action-packed Power Rangers or X-Men. They weren't always ready to sit through weird live action with potatoes and apples cracking jokes. Ratings were shaky from the start, and despite heavy promotion, the show only lasted for one season with 13 episodes. The episodes themselves were just as wild as the concept. In one episode, the Kitchen Crew tries to stage a Broadway-style musical, but everything falls apart when the set collapses and Mr. Potato Head literally has to pull himself together. Another episode has the gang trying to impress a Hollywood producer, which turns into a parody of the entertainment industry and its obsession with image. And of course, there were constant gags about Mr. Potato Head losing his parts or getting them mixed up. It felt less like a traditional story, and more like a string of comedy skits loosely tied together. In the end, the Mr. Potato Head show fell victim to being too strange for the mainstream. On one hand, it capitalized on Toy Story hype and Mr. Potato Head's recognizable brand. On the other hand, it didn't have the polish or accessible humor of competitors. SpongeBob would premiere just a year later in 1999 and master surreal humor in a way Potato Head never could. So when ratings dipped and merchandising didn't explode, Fox Kids pulled the plug after only 13 episodes. Even though it was short-lived, the fact that the Mr. Potato Head show even existed proves how valuable the character was at the time. Hasbro and Fox Kids were willing to take a chance on him. While it didn't last, it cemented Mr. Potato Head as more than just a toy. He became a pop culture personality. Today, people look back on the series as one of those forgotten 90s experiments. A weird little chapter in TV history that shows how networks were willing to try anything to stand out. Mr. Potato Head might not have become the next Bugs Bunny or SpongeBob. But for one brief moment in the late 90s, he had his own stage, his own crew, and his own TV spotlight, proving that even a potato with detachable parts could headline a Saturday morning show.